Good evening, and welcome to the 2023 Waterloo Municipal Debate, sponsored by Northern Iowa Student Government, in partnership with Women of Action, Cedar Valley Activate, and the Cedar Falls Waterloo branch of the American Association of University Women. I want to thank our moderators, Jamie Renfro, Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of Northern Iowa, and Maria Kuiper, a reporter at the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier, for their time in conducting a civil debate for the city of Waterloo. I'd also like to thank the City of Waterloo for allowing us to use the City Hall chambers for the debate and the Waterloo Community Television for recording this debate. The timekeeper for tonight's debate is Lizbeth Montavo. The timekeeper will apprise the candidates when they have 15 seconds left of their allotted time, and a red-colored stop sign will appear to apprise the candidates their time has expired. Due to limited time we have allocated for tonight's debate, we ask all candidates to not exceed their allotted time period. The moderators and the timekeeper have the debate sponsor's permission to interrupt him or her, move on to the next question, rebuttal, debate, or discussion opportunity, and if necessary, penalize the candidate's time the next time she or he is asked to respond to a question. All questions to be asked came from residents of Waterloo. Sponsors' representatives have been assigned to review all questions submitted by residents of Waterloo and will give moderators the questions to ask. Minor modifications of questions by a moderator to improve clarity may be permitted. Each of our candidates will be allotted 90 seconds for their opening remark, 1 minute for their closing statement, and will be asked to keep all responses to debate questions at 60 seconds or less. With our condensed schedule, less is more. Should any candidate want to make a rebuttal comment, she or he will be limited to 30 seconds to make their case. Moderators have permission to stop rebuttal commentary if they feel the issue has sufficiently been aired. Moderators should also alternate between which candidate answers first for each new question. Prior to tonight's debate, all candidates were reached out to via the email address they filed with their election papers. Any candidates who did not respond to their email were then left voicemails via the phone number they filed over a week in advance. We thank all candidates for their commitment to being here tonight and answering questions from the Waterloo community. Each of the residents seeking public office have also been provided with a debate schedule, debate protocol before tonight's debate. Thank you. You may begin with your opening statement.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the organizations that contributed to this debate tonight and thank our moderators. Appreciate you putting the time in for this today. My name is Dave Bolson. I'm currently the City Council at large, council person. I've been on the City Council for 3 years and 9 months. And I'm running for Ward 2 this time. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Waterloo. I was born and raised here. Went to grade school, middle school, or junior high, and central high school. I was an electrician with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I worked for the UAW with years as an electrician, and then I started my career with Waterloo Fire Rescue. I spent 28 years with Waterloo Fire Rescue. I was a firefighter, a EMT, a paramedic, a medical officer, a fire investigator. I was the first arson canine handler in the state of Iowa. Became the fire marshal. I finished out my career as a battalion chief, managing one of the three shifts. I retired after 28 years in the fire department, and then I moved over to the police department, where I worked 6 years as the property and evidence coordinator for the Waterloo Police Department. Since then, I've been on the city council, so I have devoted almost 38 years of my life to the city of Waterloo. I'll be 67 in December, so over half my life has been dedicated to the city of Waterloo. I'm running unopposed, which I'm happy with. I should be, and I do appreciate your vote, and I hope people, even though I am running unopposed, get out to vote because there's a mayoral election and there is a at-large also. Besides vote too. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to ask you a series of questions. You have 1 minute to give your answers, and if you'd like to rebut yourself. I suppose we could theoretically give you 30 seconds for that, and then at the end we'll give you a minute for closing remarks.
Because if I rebut, I'm just going to agree with what I said.
That does make a lot of sense.
Okay.
So I am going to start so fiscal management of taxpayer funds is always a key concern of all voters. How will you keep future homeowner real estate taxes and business property taxes at a low level? Or do you think real estate taxes and business property taxes need to be increased? If so, why?
No one's ever going to get elected by saying that taxes should be increased. The problem that we face right now is that we have a budget that's hard to sustain. We had 10 years ago, we had 67,000 people, and our budget was here. 10 years later, with the census, we have 66,000 some odd people, and the budget is here. We've got to look at ways that we can maximize the taxes coming in. We've got TIF districts that pull away from the general fund. We've got incentives. We need to really think outside the box on how we can manage the city smarter and more economical, and try to get the best deal we can for our taxpayers. We've got to think outside the box. And we sit right now at $19.73 a tax per thousand. We're out of the top 15 cities in the state, we are the highest tax rate statewide. Time is up.
So as a quick follow-up to that, do you see any particular unnecessary spending going on?
I truly believe that there's always ways to be more efficient, and there's always ways to save money. We have to look at ways that we can bring more tax dollars in. Right now, we have 7 different TIF districts that money's not going into the general fund. So any of the taxes that are paid in that TIF district stay in that TIF district. So as the tax burdens for the city of Waterloo keep increasing, that share of that burden is on residential and commercial property owners that aren't in the TIF. And that is hampering the average citizen. The average citizen's wages aren't going up, but their taxes are going up. And then the state turned around and reevaluated all of their properties. So now most of the properties in the city of Waterloo have exponentially increased. And because of that, it won't happen right away, but taxes are going to be going up. Also, the state has moved in that it's going to hamper the city on the way that we can collect taxes. So we've got a number of issues that we have to work through in an attempt.
So you're talking about management and efficiency. So are you in favor or opposed to Waterloo, moving to hire a city manager type position?
I'm actually in favor of a council manager form of government. I truly believe that that's the most efficient way to run the city. Out of the top 15 cities in the state of Iowa, Waterloo and Council Bluffs are the only 2 that operate the way we do. I truly believe that a city manager will find efficiencies and operate the city more efficiently. The mayor, I know, is opposed to a city manager. But I truly believe if we had a city manager, that would give the mayor and someone else, a professional that's had training in running the city, would give the mayor the opportunity to travel more, to promote the city of Waterloo more, to be out there, pounding the bricks and working to bring business and industry to the city of Waterloo. I think it's a good form of government. I truly think that we should be moving that direction.
And I have a follow-up. So usually city managers are paid, $100,000, $200,000 in salary. Do you think spending that much money on a city manager would be worth it?
I truly believe that. I believe that a city manager would find the efficiencies. You got to keep in mind that the way that the city is run is based on the next election cycle. Mayor Hart was not to be reelected. A new mayor is going to come in here that hasn't run a city, and it's going to take them time to get on board. And all they're going to know about how to run a city is what each department head tells them that they need. And each department head, and God bless their souls, are going to be looking out for their departments. But a city manager that has college education to manage a city, and I wouldn't hire one right out of college. You'd hire one that has a strong track record of running the city, would greatly benefit the citizens and would find savings in tax dollars that, in my opinion, would we could afford to do it. The city of Cedar Falls doesn't. They pay close to $200,000.
So to put all of that together, growth of business in the city has been an important objective. What is your attitude regarding city-provided incentives for businesses to locate or develop in Waterloo?
Well, that's a loaded question. It truly is. And let me just explain and go through this a little bit. We have a lot of incentives. Number one, we have TIF districts. We have Clara and Cura. One gives you 100% tax abatement for new construction for 3 years for housing. The other one gives you 100% for 3 years, or a sliding scale for up to 10 years. We have to look at the way we do incentives. Right now, the city has a lot of land, and if a business comes into Waterloo, we'll give you that land for $1. But if you buy land somewhere else for an exorbitant amount of money, we'll pay you back for that land through tax incentives. And I think we're paying an exorbitant amount of money. We've got one project alone that we're giving $1,300,000 in tax incentives just to cover the land. And incentives need to be based on jobs, on job performance, and creation of new jobs within the city of Waterloo.
So the follow-up question to that is, should tax abatements be used as an economic development incentive, and is the length of the tax abatement period too long, or is it about right?
I can guarantee it's too long on certain projects. We've got projects right now that have tax abatements for up to 20 years. We were facing a $5.5 million shortfall in our budget last year. We whittled it down to $3.7 million. We raised taxes on $1.7 million, and we used ARPA funds to cover the rest. We can't continue to do that. I can't help and budget as a city council person for police, fire, EMS, and all the other necessary services for the city on tax dollars that aren't going to come in for 20 years. When you continue to delay that, and our cost of services keep going up, our pay raises alone that are scheduled for next year for the city of Waterloo are $1.5 million. That's not in the budget, that we have to work out. So the incentives, I think, are too long, number one, and the incentives should be based on number of jobs created, because we want people to live, work, and play here. They don't want to go to school here. So we have to have a completely different incentive program, in my opinion.
And talking about new developments and new investments, what are some good investments do you think Waterloo has made in the last 4 years?
Investments? Well, we've got a lot of new business and industry that's coming in, and we've seen a lot of growth in the area of the airport. The problem with that growth, and we've got great projects going on out there. The problem with that growth is all of the tax dollars that go into that are going into a TIF. And they're not staying in the airport TIF because we have underperforming TIFs. So we'll take a TIF out the airport, and we merged it down Broadway, picked up All In Groceries, picked up KWWL, and shot it up north and picked up Unity Point North Crossing, so that we can continue the growth out here, but it's taken from the TIF. I think what's going on north of Allen Hospital, north and east of Allen Hospital, is incredible. The 180-unit apartment complex, the senior center, the daycare center, and all the growth that's going to go in and around that is absolutely going to really benefit that area of town, because we have not seen that growth in the north end in a long time.
And then a follow-up, if you're elected or re-elected, I guess, but you're switching seats, do you think, what investments would you work toward in the future?
Well, one thing that Ward 2 really has to concentrate on is creating growth in the Crossroads area. The mall is really, it's becoming an eyesore. There's very few businesses within the mall. The tax valuation of the mall has dropped considerably. I think it's dropped over $20 million in the past few years. Now, keep in mind, if the mall drops $20 million, that's $20 million worth of taxes at 90% of the assessed value. That's not coming into the city of Waterloo, the Blackhawk County, or the school system. And who makes up that difference? Because our budget hasn't changed. The taxpayers do. So we have got to look at revitalizing the Crossroads area. And I think we're going to see some revitalization strictly because of what's going on to the south and the east of that, with the KOA, with the theme park, with the water park, with the casino. And we're going to see new growth in that area coming in from Shawless all the way through the Portland corridor, but we've got to address that now. So in Ward 2, I think one of the most important things we need to do is to try to work with the management company of the mall and see what we can do to reverse that trend.
Is there anything specific that you'd like to see the mall turn into?
I've got strong opinions on how I want to see the mall look, but I want to see with that mall property, but we don't own the land. And it's owned by a group out of New Jersey and the New York area. And they've been, I think, difficult to work with. I mean, when we have issues with the mall, I mean, it ends up being a code enforcement issue, and then we have to, we'd end up with letters and threats of court in order even to get it mowed out there. So creating growth out there is going to be difficult, but we've got to find a way to make it work.
A couple minutes ago, you mentioned childcare. Is there more that the city could be doing in regard to the lack of childcare that we're seeing and that we're going to be seeing more of very, very soon?
As far as what the city can do, I mean, the city council passed over a year ago an incentive for childcare. But that incentive strictly is to build a new childcare center or to add on to an existing childcare center, as long as the childcare is registered with the state. I think we need to look outside the box and look at our partners with the state, because there is programs out there on the state and national level that will help address the childcare need. We need early childhood childcare and early childhood education in the city. We've got kids starting kindergarten that are 2 years behind half the kids in the class. And so we have to have a strong child care center and early and pre-kindergarten education for these kids so that they can have a strong background before they start school. But as far as the city's incentives, that's what we've gone to right now.
And childcare kind of ties in with quality of life for parents that live here. What quality of life projects do you think Waterloo should invest in the future?
As far as quality of life, I think that we need a vibrant downtown, and we've got some issues with downtown right now to make it more vibrant. I think people are nervous to come downtown. I've never been afraid to be downtown, but I think some people are. On top of needing a vibrant downtown and quality of life issues, I think that our leisure services department is probably one of the most well-run departments in the city of Waterloo, and they provide a number of services for families, for kids. Our sportsplex is incredible. The programs that leisure services operate, what's going on for quality of life in the Gates Park, Burns Park area, the transition in that area that's going to be going on for the next couple of years is outstanding. And I think we're investing $9 or $10 million in that area out by North Crossing, not counting what we're going to be doing in the Burns Park area. So I think we're on the right track, but I think we really need to work on downtown. We've got a huge homeless issue that we're dealing with right now in downtown too, that becomes an issue with people coming downtown. I see it. Thank you.
How do you see the roles of city staff, planning and zoning, the council, and all of the various nonprofit groups and all of the different people that are involved with trying to revitalize downtown? Like, how do you see the role of city council in that?
The city council is already involved in the downtown area. I mean, we're supporting Main Street Waterloo to the tune of $60,000 a year to help fund the downtown area. Personally, I think our Main Street is way too big. Main Street area. We have the largest Main Street in the nation. Our Main Street, in my opinion, should be Franklin to Washington, East and West 4th Street, and maybe a block in each direction. Right now, our Main Street Waterloo is Washington to Franklin, 6th Street to Tech Works. And but I think that the city of Waterloo does a good job supporting it. And then we've got great partners downtown. JSA Development is outstanding in what they contribute to the downtown area. They've invested over $40 million in our downtown area, and they've got over 40 buildings that they work on. And you see these flowers out here, and you see the lights along 4th Street. I'm not talking about the bridge. That's JSA development.
Earlier you talked about people being afraid to go into downtown. Can you kind of elaborate on what you've been hearing from people, and then how you would plan to address that?
Well, there are certain people that believe that downtown has a stigma and that they're afraid to come down here. But as I said, look at what we've done downtown. Look what we've done from the convention center to Lincoln Park. Look at the investment that we made in Lincoln Park, and a lot of that was grant funded that we've done. We have a beautiful downtown. When we're talking about East 4th Street, West 4th Street, and look at the bridge and the lighting of the bridge and what we've done, and we're going to have the Veterans Way from the Grout Museum all the way to Sullivan Park eventually. I mean, we just have to promote downtown. We have to make people feel safe. Downtown merchants, I met with them not too long ago with some issues, and they want a stronger police presence. And the police chief is going to work with them to see what we can do to make people feel more safe downtown. And I think we're on the right track. I think we just need to get people to come downtown and see what we have to offer.
I'm going to ask a follow-up to that that's not on the thing. So is there anything specifically that you think that we could do to encourage UNI students to come over to Waterloo to experience the stuff that downtown Waterloo has to offer? Because in my experience, they're missing out on a lot of cool stuff in Waterloo because they don't tend to come over there.
Well, that's because they have the hill, and they
They're
have
not going there either right now.
and they have a strong Main Street through Cedar Falls that has a lot to offer. And think about, we have a lot to offer too, but we're not like Cedar Falls. People keep comparing our Main Street to Cedar Falls. What I mean by we're not Cedar Falls is Cedar Falls starts at 1st Street and goes up to 6th Street. And it's continuous. If you want to walk 4th Street and experience the entire downtown, you're starting at Mulberry, you get up to Sycamore, and then there's hardly anything there until you cross the bridge. So you got a block, you cross the bridge, you got another block, you get past the convention center, and then you have more businesses and restaurants and bars to go to. They're not the same. But we do have a lot to offer. But look at what we do. We've got Irish Fest. We've got My Waterloo Days. We've got Pride Fest. We have so many things that are going on throughout the spring, summer, and fall months that should be attracting people. I mean, we bring 20,000 people in for Irish Fest alone. It's incredible.
How much time do we have left? I'm just curious.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Should I ask
Something else.
the last question then? So what are your hopes for Waterloo's future?
My hopes for Waterloo's future is to attract more business and industry, and to bring more families, to bring more housing. We've got to be on the forefront of trying to bring in new industry and business. We've missed out on a few. We have been so close. It's been down to 2, and then we end up losing it because someone offers huge incentives, or the state offers them huge incentives. Because a lot of times when you're bringing in a business or a large-scale business or industry in here, they're looking for incentives from the state too. And the state's not going to be a partner with us. It's tough for us to attract them. We've got a lot going on here because we have almost unlimited water. And so any kind of business or industry that needs water, we're a great place. We have the ability to provide the water that they need for their processing, and we have the ability to treat it. So we truly have got to work hard to bring people in here, because once we bring people in here, we put people in our schools, we have houses, we go across the board, it benefits the city and our tax base.
And a follow-up to that, what do you think are the biggest challenges to getting to what you're saying?
Well, the challenges right now is to get a handle on our budget. And it's going to be difficult because, like I say, we started $5.5 million in the hole compared to tax action. We were at one time the 5th largest city. Now we're between 8th and 9th. But we're 13th in our ability to tax based on our assessed values of our homes. So that makes it really difficult, budget wise. And then, so like I say, we started 5.5, we got it down to 3.7. But the last 2 years, we took $2 million each year to help balance our budget from ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan. You can't run a budget on grant money. You can't run continuous city expenses on grants, because eventually those grants run out. And then how does the city make up that $2 million? Because for every $23,000 that the city spends, that's 1 cent on your assessed value for your taxes. So think about being short $2 million.
Right now, if you would like to take 1 minute to give closing remarks.
Well, again, I want to thank everyone that organized this. I want to thank the moderators. And I want to just express to the people of Waterloo that I've dedicated my entire life to this city, pretty much. And I will continue to dedicate all of my time and resources and input to. We don't just sit on the council. We also sit on boards and commissions that we're assigned to by the mayor. I sit on 7 boards and commissions. I sit on leisure services, waterworks, library, planning and zoning, board of adjustments, emergency management, and the gaming commission. So we're really, really busy. And in 4 years, sitting on 7 boards and commissions that meet monthly, I've missed 1 meeting, and I was in an airplane at that time. So I've dedicated myself to this council. I've dedicated myself to the boards and commissions I sit on. I return my emails. I return phone calls. And I continue to support the entire city, not just the people of Ward 2. Thank you. Thanks for tonight. I appreciate it.
And that has been the 2023 Waterloo Municipal Debate. Before we end the night, I'd like to give big thanks to our moderators, Jamie Wemfro and Maria Kuiper, for taking time out of their evening. I will also like to thank the City of Waterloo for allowing us to use the City Hall chambers tonight, as well as the Waterloo Community Television for recording this debate for us. And thank you to everyone else for attending this debate. And please remember to vote on Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you.